Appreciate you spending time here. I know it's the first week of school, hectic week, but we're very excited to talk to you all about Boulevard Investment Group, or BIG. I'm Merlin, I'm the president, but in the sake of time, we're blessed with the presence of Professor Maxwell and Bryan. Professor Maxwell is the professor for the Alts class for the freshmen. I know it's your first week of school. Alts is like the honors finance class at SMU. You take it during your spring of junior year if you're accepted. BIG has enjoyed a very great relationship with the Alts program, so I'd love to have him say a couple words. And then Bryan is the dean of undergrad admissions, so he's probably seen your name in some way, shape, or form when you were applying last year.
All right, well, welcome all of you. Some of you are sophomores I'm going to be seeing in an hour back in this room talking about alts. But for the freshmen, if you're not familiar, the alternative asset management program is the finance honors program that we select you. You can be selected at different times, but typically as a sophomore, you can't come in as a junior, the selection as a junior year, or even a senior. 1 or 2 a year are going to be seniors that get into the program. We'll talk to the sophomores about the application process. It's actually good that I get in front of you as freshmen. One of the things I will tell you is if you want to get in, there are no excuses. So you have to perform in all your classes. That's just it. There's GPA requirements, minimum GPA requirements, which if you meet the minimum GPA to get in, you're not getting in. And one of the things I would tell all the freshmen is you have to take your classes 100% seriously. I can tell you what's going to happen. Some of you are going to walk in and say, "Oh, Professor Maxwell, please will you let me in the program? I didn't perform well in this class, and this is why I didn't perform well." And you're going to tell me generally, well, I didn't like the class, or I didn't like the material that we're going over, or, well, I really didn't like the professor. And I'm like, I don't give a crap. Okay. Because that's not the way it works in the real world. In the real world, and it's also frankly in my class, you think I'm going to care when I give you a case every week and you say, well, I really didn't like the case, so I gave you a half-assed effort. That will not fly in the class. In the same way is there might be a lot of things I worry about in the class. If you like me or not, I don't really care. You still have to perform. And so that's the way you have to think about your class. You're going in and it's a job. Take care of it. Do well in it. Doesn't matter what you think about it. You just have to perform as you're going through there, because that is exactly what you're going to get in the real world. So I'm good for the freshmen. Don't try to give me an excuse that it won't work. Just perform in your classrooms as you go through there. There's enough. You might have a bad grade here or there. That's fine. We don't really care. As long as you're generally doing really, really well in all your classes. So let me say that as we go through there. I'm down here to talk about BIG in the sense that literally, I think since BIG's been around, there's been one BIG student who has not ended up in the Alts program, as far as I know about.
Yeah, everyone who I'll talk about it, 100% interview to acceptance rate. So anyone who's interviewed for Alts from BIG has gone through the program.
As I like to say to people, BIG, what they will do is they go through the program is literally they dress you up and put you in a bow and drop you off at my front door and say, here's your next Alts coming in. So if you're going to do it, I will tell you, BIG does a phenomenal job of training you. You will be better prepared when you walk into my class if you do BIG 100%. I will not actually in the class let anybody if you're both in BIG, you can't work with them. Every week you're working on cases with different people, quite frankly, because you're going to be farther along than everybody else. And I want to spread the wealth across everybody else. The culture of SMU, the culture of Cox, the culture of the finance department, the culture of the Alts is that we all help each other. And your job, if you come into BIG in the Alts program, is my expectation is when you get in there, I know the training that you had, they've done a great job of training you, and then you are going to help everybody else get up to your level And then trust me, we'll push you a little bit beyond that level as we go through the class. But I can't say enough about big. There's a lot of you trying to get in. I know that. If you don't get in, there's other clubs that are also trying to do the same exact thing. I love that. If I had a comment about big, which I tell all the presidents, my only complaint about big is that you don't take bigger classes, in the sense that the more you guys do to prepare the students, the better off you are. If you go through big, you're going to be prepared for interviews, you're going to be prepared for alts, you're going to be prepared for finance. So I can't say enough great things about big. So that's my speech. And for the sophomores, I'll see you in a little bit. And for the freshmen, I will see you a year from today, back probably in this room talking about getting into alts. So whatever happens, best of luck to all of you as you go through this process. If you're entering into SMU and you're in the finance department, you have a great opportunity, but it's up to you. You know, the beauty is when you come to SMU, you come to finance, there is zero limitation on where you can end up. You can 100% absolutely compete for the best jobs in finance in the world without question. I'll tell you this, for the freshmen, there were 675 kids who had IB analyst positions in training at Goldman this year. Every year they give you a financial modeling test. Guess who was first? The 675. Yes, it's SMU Cox Alts grad. The great thing I said was the person who was fourth came up to me and said, wait, by the way, you know, I was an average alt and I was fourth out of 675 students at Goldman Sachs. He says, now I'm the freaking, everybody's scared of me, which I was like, okay, well, that's great. So I can say that with 100% honesty. Your outcome will be defined by you. As you go through this, one of the things I always tell people, like, you know, I don't select you who gets into alts. And it's the same way that nobody is like literally making a selection for you as you go through and get your job. It's 100% up to you. If you're well prepared and you spend your time and your effort well in college, look, have as much fun. College is about having fun, but also take care of business. And if you do, the world's going to be your oyster. So take what we're doing 100% seriously. Everybody in big takes it extremely seriously. Sometimes I wish they back a little bit, but they will push you very hard. They'll set you up for me, and then I will push you even harder. So with that, best of luck to you guys, and I'll turn it over. Thank you.
And a lot of you haven't made that. Jim Bryan oversees the undergrad program here at the Cox School. So anything that has anything, missions, academic advising, career management, a lot of curriculum policy, work, various things. Also work a lot with the student organizations, and I wouldn't really say this about any other organization or any other group of people. Big is my favorite student organization, and it's kind of like a parent saying they have a favorite child. You won't do that publicly, but I'm okay to say that you guys are my favorite organization because you're the only one that gives me any money, and I appreciate that. They give us some of their funds back, a percentage of their proceeds every year for our general scholarship fund, which is great. We love you guys and keep it up. My favorite big story was the first time I ever heard about them. When their founder came into my office one day and said, I have an idea for a student club. And I've had hundreds of these conversations. The student always has this great idea. It's going to be much bigger than anything we can possibly imagine. It's going to be great as long as I can give them $50,000 to get started. And that's what the conversation is, because we don't have funds on that. So the student is presenting this to me, walks me through the process, tells me exactly what he's going to do. It says, and at the end, if we make any profits, we'll give them back to the Cox School for scholarship purposes. I said, what are you asking my permission for? He said, can I do that? Can you give us money? Yeah, you can give us money, dude. That's great. You can do that. And they did. And it's been a wonderful relationship we've had ever since then. I like the big students a lot because exactly what Professor Maxwell was talking about, they push each other really, really hard. And they take this stuff very seriously. How many freshmen we got? Yeah. Some of you may have been in the BLI class I came into on Tuesday. For those of you who weren't, I'll reiterate this. It's great that you're here. Congratulations on everything you earned. Celebrate that. We're proud of you, and we're happy as we can be for you. But that was yesterday, and the hard work starts today. Now we have to start working really hard at it. And this is one of the ways that you can apply all of the honors and all the great things that you've gotten, that you've received so far. You can start actually putting them to work. I share the same complaint about BIG that Professor Maxwell has. I wish you guys would take a bigger class, but I know you can't. And I know you've got your stuff to maintain, and I get that. I want to reiterate that if you're not admitted into BIG, it's not the end of the world, and it's not like you're not going to get nullants. So you guys are going to take, you know, a dozen, maybe more people, something like that. Not a ton of people. There's 90 people every single year. There has been for the last 3 years. So this is not the end of the world, and there's a lot of great clubs and organizations. But you guys are my favorite. Keep doing what you're doing. We trust you. Keep doing good stuff. If I can help you with anything, let me know. It's fine.
Shit.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate Jim, Bryan, Professor Maxwell coming. As I mentioned, I'm Miles. So we obviously talked about BIG, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into who we are, what we do, talk about a little bit more why we do it, and then obviously the application cycle, how you get involved. Yeah. So like I said, we are fully a nonprofit organization. So we are registered in Texas as a 501c3. We have a board of directors, we have bylaws, the whole deal. This is not your average student club. This is not some club you can just sign up for. We have a very rigorous and intense application process on purpose, because then if you're accepted, we provide unique access to very specific education and a network of alumni. And I think all of us would say here it's probably like the most fulfilling rewarding experience done probably in my life. It's a great group of people, and it's very fun. As you can see, we touch about $1 million. The main part of that's $250,000 in U.S. stocks across 6 sectors. So think like healthcare, energy, consumer retail, tech, a couple others. This money, like, there's no parent supervision. Like, this is on us. It's up to us. And then, as Jim Bryan mentioned, it is a nonprofit organization, so we can't just make money and then like keep it. We donate a portion of our investment-related gains each year back to PBA scholars. So I don't necessarily need like raise hands, but I'm assuming that many of y'all are PBA scholars in here. You could argue that to some degree, a portion of your scholarship is funded through returns that we've made, which from a strictly student-led group, which is a very, very cool experience to say that we're part of. And I think that's like what really motivates us to work really hard on this. So obviously you're here to apply to be a junior analyst. All of us are considered on exec or executive members, but we had to enter by being a junior analyst. You can only join as a freshman or sophomore. So if you're a junior or senior, I apologize, you're not eligible to apply. Owen, our head of education over there, he'll speak in a bit, but we essentially run class twice a week. We call them education sessions, but we typically like weekday evenings, twice a week, just whenever everyone is free. We teach you the entire accounting and finance curriculum at SMU in 1 year. So if you're a sophomore, you might be in your first accounting class right now. You might not even taking it until like spring. Freshman, obviously, you're in like BLI, business calc. But if you are admitted as a junior analyst, you will learn every single thing from accounting and finance SMU has to offer in this first year. So then by the time you get to this class, it's a walk in the park, and like it's very nice. Additionally, once you actually like learn the accounting and finance, we then teach you how to apply into Excel, like run various sort of like analyses on that information, like how to value a US stock. And then we teach you how to make really cool and intricate PowerPoint presentations. And then you'll be like literally right here presenting it back to us. And that's sort of how we determine which stocks we invest in. As you can see, there's sort of a pitch cycle. We'll do like 3 pitches a semester, typically once a month. However, I really want to dial back on like why we're doing this. Like, obviously it's a great program, but we mentioned the donation. This was the very first ever donation with Jim Bryan, who spoke to you about 12 or 13 years ago when BIG started. And just this past year, we were able to donate $5,000, which is almost an entire PBA scholarship. And I think that's very like unique and cool experience for us. Like, as we continue to grow the portfolio, we're going to continue to like raise donations. The next is education. In case like it hasn't been clear yet, like this is not your average club, it's not your average like class either. With the education programs, we teach you like entirely all sorts of valuation methods on how to value stock, how to actually like find a stock, have a stock screen, and also just like thesis generation. This is an example, Excel sheet. I just randomly took a screenshot from last year. This is kind of on purpose, meant to be like overwhelming. This was made by someone in your position a year ago, a freshman. Did this on one of their pitches, and then once we actually teach you how to like analyze all this information, do it in Excel, we then teach you how to make these like very, I think, like as pretty as a PowerPoint can be, like very good looking like PowerPoints. And again, like I'm sure kind of flip back and forth, but all 4 of these screenshots were made by someone who joined the group last year. So it's really cool to see that like it's 4 days into school for like your freshman, and like this could be you in April before you even take a singular accounting or finance class. I think that's a very unique value proposition that Big has to offer that like other clubs don't. The last part is placement. Professor Maxwell talked about the ALS program. It's a very it is the only honors finance class you can take at SMU. We've had a great relationship with them, as he mentioned, so I won't talk too much on it. And then professional placement. This is really important. Obviously, for the sophomores, you've probably heard a lot about the coveted like junior year internship, and freshmen, you'll hear so much about it. The internship you do after your junior summer going into senior year is very important, and it leads to typically like a return offer to come back after you graduate college. I'm going to flip to a slide in a second, but I don't want to overwhelm you yet. It's a bunch of logos, but mainly like the top 2 rows, most of those firms are like the top financial firms across the country, and big members like at places like, let's say, Citadel, Point72, PJT, Centerview, for example. Big members have gone on to work there, and they're like the only people in SMU who have ever gotten jobs in these places. I think they're widely known across the world as some of the top banks and firms. Additionally, on the bottom, just to highlight a couple, like RCG and Trive and Ocean Sound, and then BWC in the bottom. These are all internships that students have done during their freshman and sophomore year, which I think is extremely important. People talk so much about junior summer internship, but Big has a really sort of unique pipeline of alumni that help connect us and give us internships for not only our junior year, but our freshman and sophomore years, but also by the time we graduate. Most kids in Big have worked like 3 or 4 internships, gotten like tons of different experiences. Okay, so now I've talked a bunch. I would love to turn it over to our 2 chief investment officers, Jonah and Cade, as well as Owen, our head of education, just to talk a little bit more about, introduce themselves, talk about the group and any other words of wisdom they have to say.
Yeah, I'm Jonah Swan, guys. I'm one of the co-CIOs, and I'm also the director of our industrial portfolio here at Big. And I joined as a freshman. I can honestly say, like, this is genuinely one of the most impactful organizations I've been a part of, not just like during the last 2 to 3 years, but in my life. It does require a lot of you, not just in the application process, but once you get in it. And I think that maybe sounds a little bit daunting. But what I'll say is that for every amount that you put in, and all of those amounts are completely expected of you, you get that much and way more out of it. And along the way, it's like, yes, we take all of this very seriously, and we want you to achieve great things. We want each other to achieve great things, but we also have a ridiculous amount of fun. I've met some of my best friends in this group, and I can't speak more highly enough of it.
Yeah, I would echo the fun part. I live with Jonah and Owen, and we have a blast. Absolutely phenomenal group of people that you get to do life with, but then also push each other to do some pretty incredible things. And one more important note, I think, on recruiting, our head of recruitment's not here, but we do a New York trip every year. And so if that's something you're interested in, we go sit with, there's a VP of TMT at Goldman Sachs. There's, Moelis, PJT, all these big name investment banks. Meet people working at Point72 here, that those kind of connections you get to have, that's not available to every SMU student. Not everyone else gets to go sit in that room with those kinds of people and with those connections. And so really highlight that element of Big, as well as that it's a fun group to do lots of hard things that are incredibly rewarding.
Hi, everyone. My name is Owen, Director of Education. One thing that we haven't really talked about that I want to make sure is clear is that we don't expect any prerequisite finance knowledge. That's my job, to teach you all of that. I came in as a freshman. I didn't even know what an income statement was, but we tailor the program directly to our students based on all the internships that our members have done, and then come back and then tell us, hey, these are the exact skills that you need to be the top of your class. And and we formulate the curriculum based on that. And so it's a sprint, it's a lot of information, but it starts, right from square one. And we're there to help you the whole way. So I don't want any of you to be intimidated by the content or any of the logos up here. We're here to help you. And I think we're really good at doing that.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful. The rest of y'all just want to introduce yourself, your position as well.
I can start. My name's Caitlin Hicks. I'm a junior now. I joined BIG as a sophomore and I'm now the portfolio manager of the industrial sector. If I had to say anything about BIG, it's that it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done, but at the same time, definitely the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And I don't mean to say that to intimidate you, but I think whoever else was in my JA class can say that I think we shut this place down every single night, whether or not they were kicking us out or what the problem was. We were here pretty late every single day. It was probably, if I had to guess, on average, 4 or 5 hours a day, average. Some of it varies where it's early in the cycle and it's like 2 hours a day. And there are times where you're not sleeping for a week. And I think that really is all just what you put into it. You're going to get right back out. There are definitely people that do that and definitely people that don't. And you take what you can. So that's the
Yeah, my name's Thomas. I'm a junior. I also joined with Caitlin last year, and I'm the energy PM on a few committees as well. I'd say it's definitely a really good experience. Like, it's a lot of hours. They all said that, but I think all those hours translate to, better education. You're just ahead, more, that ultimately leads to a better job, which is obviously people.
My name is Tanner Dirk. I'm the TMT PM, and what I would say is I thought the whole point of BIG was just getting in and learning and saying that I was in it. But now that I've gone through it, I'd say that you really have to, you don't want to just get in BIG. You want to get in BIG, you want to make the most of it. Because the amount I've learned, I would give up for anything. Even if I missed out on going out sometimes, I'd say it's definitely worth it. And also a little bit tired of Thomas Guidaboni here because of how much time I spent with him. But other than that, it's a blast.
Yeah, I'm Arshin. I'm a sophomore. I'm the portfolio manager for the healthcare sector, and I work on fundraising with Sebastian, who's not here today. Basically, everybody said BIG will put you so far ahead, and even though it'll probably be harder than any of the classes you take during, especially your freshman and sophomore years, and probably most classes besides alts and whatnot, it's one of those things that puts you super far ahead, and I think people talk a lot about jobs and jobs like they're saying later on, but it also puts you in positions and allows you to meet people and companies that you just otherwise wouldn't be able to, especially as an underclassman. And I think that's something that's super, underrated. Not enough people talk about that, but I think it's something that all of you guys could really benefit from.
Hi, I'm Ryan Robb, senior. I joined BIG my freshman year, which seems like a really long time ago now. Went through the Junior Analyst Program and then ran the energy group for 2 years before joining as an advisor this year. It's kind of a really cool life spot that a lot of you are at, especially the freshmen, coming into something completely new. And basically, you guys have this opportunity to craft the life that you want to live for the rest of your life now. So kind of think about what you want out of life, the ways that you want to push yourself, the areas that you want to explore. And if that happens to be BIG, we'd be glad to have you.
I want to highlight real quick. There are people that are involved in fraternities and other things. The hours are a lot of times, yes, but you're able to do lots of different things. It's not oh, you wake up and you're BIG. You're not an investment banking analyst. That's all you do is work. There is still fun, and everyone's done as a comp sci major, right? If you have other things you want to do, that is still able to be done. It does require a lot, but it's not an unattainable.
Yeah, I've played lots of golf. I've also had another minor in data science. I've never heard of anyone sit up all week, but I also want to reiterate what Owen talked about the requirements to join. You don't need any knowledge. You just need a desire to learn, to work hard. That's what we care about the most. I applied. I was in your seat both freshman year and sophomore year. Freshman year, I didn't even get selected for an interview. I wanted nothing more, both freshman and sophomore year, than to join this group. So it's very rewarding to be up here talking to you all today. So the last but not least, is certainly applications. Applications are live now. They're due on next Friday. So 7 or 8 days. Very, very strict one page, while you're all taking your phones out, it is purposely locked the coffee chats. Just wanted to wait until 7 p.m. tonight. That link will open. It'll also be on the next slide. It's on our website. You can sign up for coffee chat, just one coffee chat per person. Great opportunity for you to like connect more one-on-one with someone in the group, just like ask any questions you may have that we didn't answer today. Back to the application, 1-page resume, Cox format. So we have an example on our website of the Cox format. But I know that the Career Center also has like plenty of examples and like help assistance and like formatting your resume properly. Then also a stock pitch on a publicly traded US company. That is very vague. That's on purpose. The publicly traded US company means like it needs to be traded on US stock exchange, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, etc. But then the rest is up to you. You just want to see your stock pitch, and I'll leave it at that. Just like the 1-page strict guideline, extremely strict guideline on the due date, like unfortunately just like 0 excuses will tolerate it at all. And then if you are selected to interview, we'll have a happy hour where you get to meet everyone in the group, and then have applications the next few days. So with that, would love to take any questions you guys have. I appreciate you listening to us kind of ramble for 30 minutes. But yeah, appreciate it.
For anyone that joined as a sophomore, I'm a sophomore and I'm also looking to join alts. And I know I like the JA program. Obviously, it prepares you very well for alts. But how difficult is it to manage like classes, alts, and like the Junior Analyst Program all at once? Like even at like, because I'm also in like some other organizations. So I was wondering like what, I mean, you guys just talked about the time commitment, but I just wanted to hear like from someone that actually did it, how.
Yeah, I mean, I joined as a sophomore, so like I didn't get an interview freshman year. Joined as a sophomore. It's a lot. Like I was probably in like 4 or 5 classes at a time, and I would say that the amount of work I also had is probably like another 4 or 5 classes. Except like all I wanted to do was work on this. I like probably shouldn't say this, but like I didn't really want to. I had to keep my grades up for alts, but I really loved working on big. I also was involved with a ton of other stuff, and like, yeah, it's a lot. Like it's a lot of work, and like that's what we're looking for. It's like people that are like interested in learning.
My question is, Owen mentioned that you don't need previous finance experience to join. So when you take that component out, I guess like in all the application rounds you've dealt with, what separates the really good candidates from like the exceptional candidates, even if finance knowledge like isn't a requirement to join?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer. So just for a little bit more context, yeah, there's the resume and the stock pitch. Like I said, keeping it pretty open in terms of like instruction, but we really just want to see like how you thought about the company, like why you think it's a good company, why you like think we should invest in it. And then the interview, a little bit more structure or like visibility into what the interviews actually look like. If you are selected to interview, it'd be 3 15-minute interviews. One would be like behavioral, one would be more like thought process, and then the third would be like about your stock pitch. So by no means are we grilling you on like any sort of like accounting or finance. Like Owen said, like that's all we're going to teach you about.
One thing I'll add onto that is that like earlier Miles mentioned the 2 biggest things we're looking for, people that are hardworking and that love to learn. And if we can look at your 1-page stock pitch and know that you spent a lot of time on it and you learned a ton about that company and you like clearly enjoyed that, like I can't say, oh, you look at an interview, but like that is what we're wanting to see.
Also, my stock's down like 50% that I pitched. So like, it's much more about how you think.
So I'm definitely more than 50% down. So yeah. So
I know the network that Big offers is a big part of kind of the value proposition. I was wondering if anyone up there could talk about how the Big network has helped you guys personally.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
My freshman summer internship came from someone big. My sophomore year internship came from someone big, and my junior internship came from someone big. And it's not like, oh, you know, they're gonna put your resume in the stack or they're gonna help you get interviews. That's like, no, they're gonna take the time to take your call and like care about you as a person and want to serve like as a mentor and a guidance as you go through what's typically a very tough recruiting process. And that's something that for as long as this group has been around has existed. And that's something that like you will also be expected to do once you graduate to really care about the next class, because this group, you know, at the end of the day is only what the generations before us have put into it and what we put into it. And so it's really important that like we care about the people and put a lot of time into the people, not just the knowledge.
This is a question for all of you guys. How many of you guys are double majors? And if so, what is the major? Just curious.
I can start. I'm finance major and data science minor, and I'll also add that like one of our presidents a few years ago was a triple major valedictorian, and he always talks about like, and this is just like general advice I have for freshmen is like, you get one shot at college, and it's like, why not make the most of it? Like maximize what you can do, and like obviously like you're gonna have to say yes and no to certain things, but like certainly try and make the most of it and like enjoy the challenge. It's like really good advice that I took. Yeah.
Finance, computer science with level.
I'm doing a finance major, minor in real estate and comp sci.
I'm finance and econ.
Comp sci as well.
I'm just finance.
Oh, yeah, finance and health and society and minor in Spanish.
Just finance as well.
I'm finance and I'm a minor in public policy and international affairs, Tower Scholars Program. So if you're interested in that,
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we typically receive about anywhere 150 to 200 applicants. We typically have 40 to 50 people to interview. And then in the past, historically, it's been around 15 that we accept. There's no set number, but generally around 15. The last few years, we've had like 7 or 8% acceptance rate. Yes.
for the soft pitch, is there like an outline you want us to follow, or like?
You can be anything, like just passing on one page.
I'm a transfer student. I'm coming in as like a senior, but I have to spend 2 years here. I'm not eligible for this.
Fortunately.
Okay, so what step would should I do?
I would suggest applying for the Pulse program.
Program.
There's an info session literally in like 20 minutes in here after this. I would stick around if you're free. And yeah, I can also, all of our information's online. Certainly suggest like reaching out. There's obviously the coffee chats that will give you like access to everyone's email. Strongly suggest reaching out and asking questions.
One thing to add on the one page from the previous question, like 1 8.5 by 11 page. Like someone submitted like a PDF like poster size that like was like super like you could zoom everything. No, like a normal sheet of paper. Like the creativity needs to not come on the dimensions, but on the content.
Yeah, the very first thing we do is go through every single resume and stock pitch. And if it's 2 pages, like literally if the last line of your resume has 1 word over, it's automatically cut, which is very unfortunate because you might have like the best application in the entire group. And it's just, let's go. So, yeah, keep that in mind. The coffee chat's open at 7 p.m. tonight. The application's live, but due in 8 days. Yeah, happy to stick around and answer any other questions. But I appreciate you spending time here. I know it's a busy week. Welcome back. Obviously, we're pumped for a great year. Thanks.